Dear eldest daughter, you can breathe, you can relax, you can make mistakes, you can enjoy all the things you want to enjoy without any guilt. You don't owe anybody anything. Nobody is entitled to your life. Nobody's entitled to know what you got going on. You are responsible for you. Point blank in the period. Hey y'all, it's Kiki. Welcome back to another episode of the So Into Self Pod. This is officially episode 3 of the pod. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first 2 episodes. This episode is going to be a little different. It might hit a little deeper because I'm talking to a specific group of people, as you can tell by the title. And this is from an eldest daughter to oldest daughters or only daughters, because I know only daughters tend to experience similar things. But I wanted to talk about this because I find that a lot of oldest daughters, the moment they get out into the real world, it's very hard for them to function properly. It's hard for them to regulate their nervous system. It's hard for them to get out of that anxiety and, not trusting people and many different things because of like how we were brought up and how we were raised and things like that. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I keep moving the damn mic. But yes, I did want to touch on it in this episode. As the oldest daughter, there's oftentimes so many things put on us, so many responsibility, whether we are responsible for other people, meaning our younger siblings, even our parents, if we were raised by emotionally, immature parents. And it's so many things that we are forced to take on before we even really know who we truly are. And because of all that, we tend to grow older and we become very almost like rigid or basically unmoving with ourselves and with other people. And we really rarely find time to actually breathe and truly see ourselves. So, as y'all know, I got my notes because I got to have them. But I wanted to speak about my experience, and then I wanted to talk about the things that I learned over the past 3 years that really have helped me to really get rid of that, not just anxiety, but the constant need to be the caretaker for people who are grown and able to care for themselves. Hopefully I'm not leaning. So, as an oldest daughter, I know for me personally, and also as a child who was raised by, emotionally immature parents, when I was younger, it was almost like my duty to carry other people's emotions or to manage other people's emotions. And I didn't realize that, of course, until I got well into my 20s, mid 20s, that I realized like, hey, these people are not wanting to deal with their emotions, and they're making their emotions, their problems, they're making everything that they are supposed to be responsible for, they're making me responsible for it. And I think when I finally got out into the real world and I finally moved into my own place and I was working my job and really taking care of myself, it took me a while before I felt like I could exhale, because it's almost like I kept looking over my shoulder, waiting for a pin to drop, waiting for something to go wrong so that I can hurry up and need to get into fix it mode and get into take care mode. And I think that it's very important as oldest daughters or only daughters to make it our mission to be as gentle and as soft with ourselves, because of course you get older and you want connection, you want friendship, you want relationship, you want jobs, you want, business ventures, all these things, you want to travel. But if we don't be more gentle with ourselves first, we won't be able to do those things. And even if we do those things, we won't be able to actually fully experience them and fully be in the moment, because we will always be thinking about what could possibly go wrong that I will need to fix. What is going to happen that somebody, may end up, something may end up falling on me. Long story short, someone may do something and everything may fall on me in order for me to have to repair it, bring it back to life, rebuild it, and things like that. So I just wanted to share some of the things that have helped me over the years to really step into myself and realize that I am not responsible for anybody else but myself. Yes, I do have younger siblings. And of course, your younger siblings, oftentimes they look up to you. They want advice from you and things like that. But all in all, they are, one, their own people, and they have parents. It's their parents' job to do that. I've already mentioned this, but I want to go deeper into it. The first thing I have is to be softer with yourself. But mainly so you can become familiar with that feeling, so that when it finally shows up in your life, whether it be from a friend or a potential partner or whatnot, it doesn't feel like a threat to you, and it doesn't feel just unfamiliar to you. I feel like in being softer with myself and being more gentle with myself, meaning the way that I speak to myself. When I make a simple mistake, I stop myself, from calling myself a dumbass or stupid or something like that. Like, I give myself grace. I give myself space to make human mistakes and just to be human. And I think in doing that, it taught me that I've always deserved that. It was always my birthright to be soft and to be gentle with myself. And it's also my right to have people be gentle with me as well. Even if you didn't grow up in a very chaotic household, just the thought of being responsible for people before you are even 18 years old, before you are even able to drive a car, buy a drink, get into a club or anything, that alone does something to your nervous system. And some of the ways that I try to regulate my nervous system and make sure I'm not on edge is, one, getting out of that environment that caused me to feel that way to begin with. I had to move away. I had to, in order for me to become who I am right now and to continue to become the woman that I want to be. I had to get away from that, and I had to deal with whatever feelings came up, whether it was guilt from leaving my siblings there and, not wanting to talk to my parents, whether it was shame, whether it was, fear. I had to deal with those feelings anyways and do it anyway. And in doing that, of course, I was able to get myself into therapy. But not only that, because I know sometimes we can't always get into therapy. Some of us, some people don't have health insurance or medical insurance. Some people don't have just guidance or counselors around. But what I did was, whenever something would come up for me, an uncomfortable emotion, sadness, anger, jealousy, whatever it was, I allowed myself to feel it. And I took away any judgment that came with it. Because I feel like, as the oldest daughter, I feel like we are often put on pedestals. I feel like people expect us to not mess up and not make mistakes and not make bad decisions. And so when we do, I don't know about y'all, but I know when I was a kid, whenever I would mess up, it would be like breaking news, extra, extra, read all about it. It was like everybody in the family had to know that I failed a class on my progress report, that I skipped the class. Like, it would have to be everybody's business. And it made me become very, just afraid to just be human and just make human mistakes. And with that, when you don't allow yourself to be human, you force yourself to be very hard on yourself and very mean to yourself. And I'm saying this to say, it's time to do the opposite. As the oldest daughter, it's time to do the opposite. It's time to be softer. It's time to be more gentle. And it's time to give yourself the space and the time and the compassion that you need to regulate, from the head to the toe. I remember I saw this quote. I keep talking about mistakes, but the quote. Oh, damn! It's the remix. The quote goes something similar, something like there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. It just lets you know that you're actually doing something. And when I heard that quote, that kind of led me to not being so hard on myself, because I feel like also as eldest daughters, a lot of us suffer from perfectionism, which leads to procrastination. A lot of us, we worry about other people, not just our family, but we worry about strangers and the people that we work with and our friends placing us on a pedestal, that we don't even allow ourselves to go after what it is that we want and do the things that we want to do, because we worry that these people are going to be watching us so hard that the moment we have a misstep or we have to take a few steps back, they're going to be on us like crazy. And so some of the ways that I was teaching myself to be gentle, like I said, I allowed myself to feel any and every emotion. I allowed myself to cry as much as I wanted to, or as long as I needed to. I journaled for as long as I needed to. I said what I needed to say, no matter how harsh or how mean it sounded, or also no matter how heartbreaking it was or how pitiful it may have come off. I allowed myself to put words to my emotion. And I think that's very important. I think a lot of us, we bottle up those things because we don't want to be seen as less than perfect. And then we end up suppressing those emotions, and then they manifest into something else. They can manifest into, resentment, into anger, sometimes into a sickness. A lot of women deal with, a lot of people deal with autoimmune diseases where your body is just like attacking itself. And I think that comes from holding in those emotions and not giving them the proper space to release and the proper time to actually heal those wounds and recover from everything that you went through when you were a child. And also too, speaking of child, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I allowed myself to get back into doing the things I did as a kid. I love to watch cartoons. I love SpongeBob. I love Bob's Burgers. I love Proud Family. I love the Boondocks. I love Rick and Morty. You know what I'm saying? I allowed myself to do the things I did as a kid. I love to play, video games on my Switch. I love to just do all the things that I did as a kid. I did it again. I did them again. I'm sorry. I did them again as an adult, because that was also my way of being softer with myself. Because the truth of the matter is, even as adults, we are still children on the inside. And so when we are hard on ourselves, when we talk to ourselves, very harshly, it's like the little kid in us is receiving it. So it almost makes us, it makes you want to shrink. It makes you not want to be seen. It makes you not want to try. It makes you not want to do much, because you beating up on that you are beating up on that smaller version of you. So I decided to do what it is that she wanted to do and allow myself to just bloom from there. And no matter how crazy it sounded, I allowed myself to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, because I realized now that I'm on my own, I don't have to worry about anybody. I'm only responsible for myself. And so to make sure I am in the right headspace to go to work, make the money so that I can make sure my lights stay on and I have a roof over my head, I need to make sure I am being soft and actually giving myself a soft life first. You can decide today, okay, I'm going to move away from my toxic family. I'm going to move away. I'll move out of state. I'm going to go to college, whatever, right? You can get away from those people. You can change your phone number. You can block them on social media. If you still treat yourself the same way that they treated you, you are still doing their work for them. And that is why it is important to change the way you talk to yourself, the way you view yourself. And I also want to say it's important that you start to slow down. I think a lot of us move fast. I know me personally, child. I'm trying to teach myself how to talk slower, because my mouth get to moving 5 miles a minute. I'm a work in progress. But I think it's also important that you slow down as well. But in doing that, you are still keeping yourself in that toxic cycle, and you're not allowing yourself you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to do something different, feel something different, and be something different. You are still doing their dirty work. So they really don't even have to be around you if you are still expecting yourself to be perfect, placing yourself on a pedestal, not allowing yourself to just be human. Okay. So, in doing this, it's important that you change your verbiage. I know for me, like I said earlier, I don't allow myself to talk bad about myself. I can't even tell y'all the last time. Like, I really can't think of the last time I said something negatively about myself, or even, especially not out loud. Now, mind you, your mind is your mind and your thoughts are not your own. So sometimes thoughts may come, negative thoughts may come, and it's not even your voice talking. It's probably those family members' voices speaking, but you've become so accustomed to it that it's almost blending in. I'm sorry. It's almost blending in with your voice. But you have to change your verbiage. You have to change the words that you use. You cannot talk badly about yourself, no matter how small or how much you think it's not that deep. Because I've been studying the subconscious a lot, and once I get my notes together, I will come back with what I come up with because I'm obsessed with the subconscious. But one thing I notice about it is it doesn't know if you're joking or not. It doesn't know if this is just a joke, if you playing, it's serious. So the subconscious, I know that it's a sponge. So whatever is going on and whatever you entertain, especially whatever you announce to be true about yourself, is going to grab onto it. So even if you do something as simple as knock over a glass of water at a meeting and you call yourself a dumbass, even if consciously you know for a fact that you're not dumb and you just made a simple mistake, your subconscious is like, okay, we're a dumbass. And then you wonder why the next time you do something so simple in front of people, the next time you knock over something to make a simple mistake, you're on edge about it. It's because your subconscious has registered that every time you do something like this, you're a dumbass. So when I say change your verbiage, you have to change the way you talk about yourself. You have to talk to yourself like you a kid. With me, I'm like, okay, you know what? I get the right to make mistakes. It's okay. I can try next time. When I go somewhere new, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is my first time being here. I'm not the first person who has experienced this place for the first time. I won't be the last. I'm allowed to look lost. I'm allowed to ask questions because I'm new. Like you have to really, everything that you heard growing up that was not positive, you have to speak to yourself in the complete opposite way. And I know for a lot of us, it sounds corny, it sounds cheesy, but that's the only way you can rewire your brain and basically change the way you view yourself. Is I had to learn to slow down in every way. I used to be in a rush. I used to walk fast. I still kind of talk fast, especially if I'm passionate about something. My mouth get to going. But for the most part, I have slowed down tremendously compared to how I used to move when I was younger. And I noticed that in me slowing down, it helped for my nervous system to calm down as well. Because I can't tell y'all how many times I used to expect disaster. Even when I knew for a fact that there was no disaster around, there was no one around to cause problems or to cause me chaos, I still expected something bad to happen. And I think that was because I was always moving fast and it caused me to always be on edge. And when you are moving fast, you really don't even know what the hell you're doing because you're not even aware of what you grabbing, the decisions you're making, what you're saying. You're not even allowing you're not even allowing yourself time to take in what it is that's going on in the moment. So, and I think it's because we are the oldest daughters, and because we pretty much are always like looking out for something and taking care of something, that we've never properly learned how to actually relax and take a load off. And that kind of prevents us from slowing down and prevents us from actually like smelling the flowers and seeing the trees, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to sort of force it when you find yourself speed walking through the grocery store and the grocery store doesn't close for another 5 hours. Ask yourself, why am I in a rush? Why am I in a rush? What am I rushing to do? The grocery store is not getting up and going anywhere. Why am I rushing to go to work? And another thing, when it comes to slowing down, and with us being heavy procrastinators, that means when it comes to getting ready for school and getting ready for work, you need to give yourself enough time in the morning, enough time in the day before you have to go to get ready. That was another thing I struggled with. I would have to, I would have to be to work at like 9, and I wouldn't get out the bed until like 8:15, knowing I have to be to work at 9 o'clock, 9:30. Imagine what that does for your nervous system. You can't even enjoy breakfast. You can't enjoy a good shower. You can't enjoy washing your face and moisturizing good because you literally are like, boom, 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 out the door, speed down the freeway, go to work. You can't even really sit at the desk good enough because you're probably hungry. You probably didn't give yourself time to eat breakfast. You probably didn't give yourself enough time to put moisturizer on your face so your skin is dry as hell, you know. Probably didn't properly brush your teeth, so now you got to chew gum. Like, it's just a lot going on. And it's like, slowing down is not going to hurt you. It's going to be the best thing that you can do for yourself in regulating your nervous system. I don't know why I feel the need to mention this, y'all, but I'm not a huge bubble bath taker. Like, I get in the shower and I get in the bed. I ain't got time, right? But this past weekend, I don't know. I just took an impromptu bubble bath. I literally cut the water on, poured my bubble bath, my soap in there, and I sat in the bathtub. And the water was very, very warm. Damn near scorching hot, because I like for the water to be hot because my apartment tends to get cold, so the water gets cold fast. But I sat in the bathtub and it was such a grounding experience. And I was so like in my body that I almost fell asleep in the damn tub. And I want y'all to know, I didn't do nothing special. I didn't light no candles. I didn't play no jazz music. I didn't have like my iPad set up so I can watch TV. It was literally like I just said, I'm just gonna take a bath. And I literally just ran the water, got in, and just sat in. And I literally like tilted my head, and I was like, the only thing that stopped me from waking up is the fact that I had my door closed and my cat kept meowing because he doesn't like for the door to be closed. And so it kept like bringing me back. But I brought that up because I think that for a long time, I didn't think that I deserved luxuries like that, like simple luxuries, because a bubble bath is a very simple luxury. But also, too, after doing that, I wanted to go to sleep so bad. And mind you, y'all, I took that bubble bath in the middle of the day. After I ate breakfast, I cleaned up, I washed the dishes, and I took the bath around 12 o'clock. I was like, it's time to take a nap. I have to go to bed. And I felt so tired and I felt so sleepy. And I was like, my mind immediately went to, why am I so tired? Like, is my nervous system finally to the point to where it's no longer on edge? And now I'm finally caught up to the point to where all of this exhaustion and me being so tired, now I actually get the time to rest, like actually properly rest, like have productive rest. When I tell y'all I slept the whole day Saturday, the whole day. And mind you, I don't have a very like hectic job. I don't have a hectic job. I don't work crazy hours. I have a regular 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, off on the weekends and the holidays. Yeah, get into it. And so I'm saying that to say nothing happened in my life for me to be dead dog tired. But after that, it literally felt like the inside of my body, my nervous system went. And after that, I was like, yeah, it's time to take a nap. I got to take a nap. I put on my Abbott Elementary and I slept. I got up, made dinner, ate the dinner, watched a few more episodes, and went right back to sleep. But I mentioned that because I think for a long time, back to what I was saying before I went off the rail. For a long time, I didn't believe that I deserved these very simple luxuries. I felt like I needed to work to earn them. And I don't know what that is about us oldest daughters. I don't know why we think like we have to work to earn something. I don't know if that's because, maybe we were raised by people who made us feel that way, or maybe we feel like we're not owed anything unless we put the work in for it. But I'm here to let you know the quiet luxuries are owed to you. You deserve them. I'm going to keep saying they are your birthright. So when it comes to simple things like taking a bubble bath or going on a shopping spree, going to Ulta and finally buying that makeup that you've been had on your wish list for the longest, going to that concert or taking yourself out to eat, out to dinner, those things also help with the way you view yourself, and it also helps with the relationship you have with yourself. It takes the pressure off, and it pushes you into a lifestyle of ease and peace, and it sort of makes you almost allergic to chaos. When you start to do things like that, you almost make it your mission to stay in a peaceful setting and in a peaceful environment, and just a peaceful, I guess you could say, posture. That chaos is just not something that you are willing to go through just to say, hey, I have a friend, or hey, I have a boyfriend. It's just not something that you will be willing to put up with. So it's important that you tap into those very simple luxuries, or even the big luxuries. Hell, even if you decide to take a vacation and fly across the country or fly out of the country, go to an island or go to London or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just naming stuff. But those things are owed to you. And I noticed that I don't know. I can't say why I felt like I didn't deserve those things as an eldest daughter, but I think it was more so the fact that because of all of those responsibilities were put on me, I felt like I can't I can't have fun if everything is not taken care of. If you know what I mean? Like if all of every single duck is in the row. And we got to be realistic. When you are transitioning from being in a toxic and chaotic environment to learning how to be by yourself and doing the inner work, sometimes it's important to celebrate those small wins. Your ducks don't need to be completely in a row. Every T does not need to be crossed. Every I does not need to be dotted. Okay. Every elephant don't need to be addressed. No, but I think for me, it was me feeling like everything needed to be in place and perfect before I could even have fun or enjoy myself. And I've learned that that's not the case. You can enjoy yourself in the middle of working. You can take care of something, be halfway done with the project, and decide you want to kick back and rest for a little while before you get back to it and finish the project. That is okay. I had to stop imagining those fake arguments with those family members and with the people, just not even family members, just people in general. But specifically for the oldest daughters, sometimes when we get out of those situations, we often think about what we should have said and what we would have said. And it's so crazy. I heard a quote on TikTok yesterday, y'all, and I almost threw the phone across the room. It was so good. And I'm going to try to quote it as best as I can. But I believe she said, I kept my wounds open for a trial that was never going to happen. She said something along the lines of that. Basically meaning I'm holding on to my victimhood. I'm holding on to all the things that hurt me. I'm holding on to this story of what happened in my past so that I can prove that it happened to me and I could, get my justice from the people who hurt me and all these good things, so on and so forth. How you interpreted that quote is how you interpret it, but that's how I took it for me personally. And I have to tell you, in order for you to step into who you are becoming and get everything in order internally, you have to stop going backwards. You have to stop rehashing the past. You have to stop imagining what you should have done to protect yourself and what you should have said. You have to stop imagining fake arguments. You have to stop going backwards. Because when we are trying to become somebody new, when we are trying to step into our higher self and become our future self, right? When we continue to replay old narratives or just old storylines from the past, you keep yourself rooted in that. And it becomes hard to step into your new life when you are still holding on to your old life. And I'm going to take it up a notch, and I'm also going to say I had to stop interacting with content that kept me rooted in the past, meaning I stopped watching videos about having narcissistic parents and what they do and how they function. I had to stop watching videos about being raised by certain types of parents and what you should do. And I had to stop watching that stuff because I noticed that whenever I felt myself making progress, those videos would bring up it will open those wounds again. And how I don't want to say pointless, but how disappointing is it to do all of that inner work just for you to interact with something that is reopening those wounds after you have healed yourself or after you have finally patched that up. Like, it's extremely unnecessary. So I completely stopped. Whenever I see people, if they have it in bold letters on the video, I just scroll past. I don't interact. If their whole page is dedicated to talking about things like that, I just block them. And it's not personal, but it's like for me and my sake, I don't want to see that. And also, I see a lot of women and a lot of young girls post about their relationships with their mom, and they're just simply telling their stories, and they get the right to do that. But for my own sake, I gotta mute them. I gotta block them. I gotta get them off my For You page because I no longer identify with that part of my life. I no longer identify with that. So I don't want to see anything that has to do with that at the moment. Do you know what I'm saying? So maybe in the future it won't affect me as much because I'm in a space where my nervous system is feeling good and is getting better. So it probably won't affect me as much. But sometimes, like I said in my past video, I'm such an empath. Sometimes I feel more than I even want to. You need to be focusing on the things that align with the future that you want. You are not, you're grown now. Unless you have children, of course, you're no longer responsible. You're no longer totally responsible for your siblings anymore. You're not responsible for managing your mother's emotions and your father's anger problems. You're not responsible for anybody but you. And at this point in your life, it's time to start aligning yourself with the future that you want and the things that you see for yourself. That means no more, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? No more fellowshipping with people who keep you rooted in the things that you are trying to get away from. No more hanging out with people who cling to anxiety and make having anxiety their entire personality. No more clinging to people who are obsessed with being insecure and not feeling confident. No more, hanging out with people who are obsessed with talking about how much they are depressed and not want to do anything different. In order for you to fully become who you want to become, you have to focus this way and leave all of this in the past. You have to. Or should I say this way? Whichever way is the future for you, but you have to be looking this way. You can't go backwards. And I know it's hard to say, but it's the truth. You have to engage, even as far as the content you watch. If you know you want to become, a lawyer, you want to go to school, you want to become a luxurious girl, you need to be tapping into that type of content and hanging out with those type of people and, having conversations and getting advice from people who live those lifestyles already. But those old friends and those people who who continue to remind you of where you came from and where you have worked so hard to get out of, those people pull you back. Even if they're not doing it purposely, they pull you back. And sometimes they do it purposely, because growth, when people see other people growing, it's almost like a threat to them. They feel triggered, or they take it personally for some reason. I don't know. But you have to stop aligning yourself with everything that used to be and start aligning yourself with things that are going to be. Point blank, period. So the last thing I want to say is for the eldest daughter. Dear eldest daughter, you can breathe. You can relax. You can make mistakes. You can enjoy all the things you want to enjoy without any guilt. You don't owe anybody anything. Nobody is entitled to your life. Nobody's entitled to know what you got going on. You are responsible for you. Point blank, in the period. And with that being said, that is all for this video, you guys. I hope you guys, Lord have mercy. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next episode of the Sow Into Self podcast. Bye, y'all.